This episode is brought to you by Wise. Wise is the app for international people using money around the globe. With Wise, you can send, spend, and receive up to 40 currencies with only a few simple taps and save up to 55% compared to major banks. Plus, Wise won't add hidden fees to your transfer. Whether you're buying souvenirs with pesos in Puerto Vallarta or sending euros to tip your Coliseum tour guide, you know you're getting a fair exchange rate with no extra markups. Be smart. Join the 15 million customers who choose Wise. Download the Wise app today or visit wise.com. Learn more by visiting wise.com/US/compare. T's and C's apply.
Today on CityCast Denver, the city of Denver is dipping its toes into a debate that is sure to stir up a lot of strong feelings. Housing density. Should neighborhoods be upzoned to allow more people to live there? And which ones should go first? I invited City Councilman Kevin Flynn to talk to me about why he's warned against so-called gentle density, and we talked about a bunch of other big issues facing the city right now, too. From the mayor's controversial budget proposal to a few local ballot measures Denver voters will be deciding very soon. Today is Monday, October 6th. I'm Paul Karolyi, and here's what Denver's talking about. Hey, before we get to the show, I'm here with a special guest. You know her well. She's back from being a little bit sick, and we're so glad. Host Bree Davies. Hey, what's up?
I'm back. I love being welcome back to my own show. Hi, Paul.
Hey, it's been a few days.
It has been a few rough days, and I missed you guys so much, but you've been hard at work. This is our last big ask. We are asking you to join our membership program right now. But I wanted to talk really quick, Paul, but I kind of wanted to do another pull the curtain back a little bit because I think this is what makes it interesting for folks is like, this show works because you and I don't always agree, right? Would you say that's true?
Yeah, it happens. It has happened.
Well, it has happened, but it's also how we pick the stories we decide to talk about, right? We pick a story and then we say, how many perspectives can we get on this? How many sides of this story can we hear? And I think sometimes that helps guide us into what makes a really interesting, compelling story in our community. And part of that is because our team doesn't always agree and see things the same way. And I think that's what makes this show so valuable. I don't know about you.
Well, I know other people see it because I've seen it all week. The way people are joining this program, the comments we've seen from folks about why they think this is important. I know that it's resonating. And if it's resonating with you too, if you're sitting here listening and thinking, wow, I have heard them talk about this membership program. I wonder if there's anything I could do about that. Yes, there is something you could do about that. You could join. You could join right now and make sure that this thing, CityCast Denver, sticks around for years to come. We want to be a resource for you. We think that this makes the city a better place. If you do too, join.
Totally. And again, I just want to throw back to some of our shows where we have done this very thing. The Governor's Big Bridge project comes to mind. We had some really interesting conversations about that, or bike lanes and parking spots, the tip to minimum wage, the mayor's ongoing budget proposal. These are all things that we get to talk about from different perspectives every day. And this is what I love. We not only go local, we go right to your neighborhood. Sometimes we're talking about your block. So if you want to help us continue this mission, join us today. Become a CityCast Denver neighbor, membership.citycast.fm. And what else do you get, Paul? This one time only, this drive, what are folks getting if they haven't heard about it before?
We can't offer any more of these tote bags. We can't.
Are we out? Are we almost out?
I mean, I might be able to ask.
Okay.
I think that I might be able to ask. If someone signs up today and they're really nice, I'll ask and I'll see if I can get a tote bag.
Also, you get an ad-free news feed. You get an events roundup every week in your email that only members get. You get invites to members-only events, which again, we're planning a super cool one this October, this very month. So this is your last chance. Sign up today. Membership.citycast.fm. Okay, let's get on with the show, right, Paul?
Let's do it. Councilman Kevin Flynn, welcome to CityCast Denver.
Thank you, Paul. Good to be here.
So you represent Southwest Denver, down around Bear Valley, Marston Lake, which honestly, I don't know very much about. I don't visit very often. What is new in the Southwest?
Well, I like to call it the highest natural point in the Mile High City.
Okay, that's a feather in your cap, I guess.
Not really.
We Denverites are obsessed with this sea level elevation thing. It's weird.
Yeah. There are a few things going on that will come to fruition probably fully after I'm out of office, because I'm here only for 2 more years. But the largest project that's taken up most of my energy for about most of the 10 years I've been here so far is the Loretto Heights campus redevelopment. When Loretto Heights, Takeo University at Loretto Heights closed in 2016, 2017, and sold to a developer. And
not just any developer. Westside Investment Partners, the developer that had the big proposal that the city voted down for the Park Hill Golf Course.
Correct. Which, by the way, I think was a huge mistake.
Okay, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Why hesitate?
There was a lot of, the city needs housing. And the Park Hill Golf Course, 155 acres, the deal that was struck with the developer and the city was such that, and I'm sorry to relitigate this because people voted it down pretty soundly. I think it's because of a lot of misinformation. There was going to be a tremendous amount of housing on about 1/3 of the site, but 100 acres was going to remain open space, including a large regional park that would be given to the city for free, and other open space interspersed through the development. But the housing was the key, the affordable housing element. There was a contractual obligation that 25% of the housing units would be income-restricted affordable housing on different levels of area median income in Denver. And a lot of people said, they'll never do that. They'll renege on it. I don't believe it. And I said, well, look at what they did at Loretto Heights. At Loretto Heights, we had not yet had at the city a requirement for income-restricted affordable housing in new developments until we passed the Expanding Housing Affordability Ordinance a couple of years back. And in that ordinance, we would have required the Loretto Heights developer to provide 8% of all the units across various levels of affordability, 8% income-restricted affordable of whatever was developed. But because that ordinance hadn't passed, the city's housing office negotiated with Westside a voluntary affordable housing agreement that requires 12%. So they were contractually obligated to provide 12% of all the units to be affordable. They are on track to achieve 20% income-restricted affordable units on a voluntary basis. And I knew that at the time of the Park Hill vote. They were on track to do that. Mercy Housing has 2 parcels lined up. They're going to do 20% there. And if they're doing 20% voluntarily, to believe that they would not do 25% at Park Hill was just foolish. I think we passed up a really good deal. And I know a lot of my good friends disagree with that, but it was a strange coalition that opposed it.
It was.
It really was. It was people who should have supported housing were opposing it.
Well, let's talk about housing because, we're talking about Denverites some Denverites are just really suspicious of developers, and some Denverites just really don't want change. There's definitely a big part of the city that's like that. And I was going to get to this later, but there's an issue that I know the city is about to start working on right now. That there's some planners that have been talking about missing middle housing and doing gentle density in the form of upzoning to allow duplexes, fourplexes in more parts of the city. Now, your district is interesting because I think there's some density, but it's a lot of single family homes. And when you were campaigning, you, according to Denverite, warned against gentle density and one-size-fits-all housing solutions, citing fears of gentrification. So I wonder how you're feeling about the city's new push towards this missing middle gentle density stuff.
I'm on the advisory committee for it. First of all, I call gentle density, I call it displacing you with a smile. You can't point to a single neighborhood in Denver where we've added density in the form of duplex or triplex and made it more affordable. In fact, we made it less affordable. Look at Overland. My older son lived in Overland for a time, and he rented a $600 a month studio in an attic of a 1906 bungalow. And all around him, speculators, investors, not the big developers, because they're not the ones who build the duplexes, right? But speculators and one-offs would buy an affordable family home where maybe a family had grown up, had been in the family for years, and they buy it for $450,000, $500,000 maybe, scrape it, and they put up duplex units that each side sells for over $1 million. And that ends up raising the property values of the widow next door and the families next door, and suddenly people are forced out because of the taxes. That's happened all over the north side. It's happening in Villa Park. It's happening in West Colfax. It's happening in Sloan's Lake.
But do you think the prices are going up because of the density? Or is it going up because of the broader economic environment and the density happens to be a symptom?
All of it, Paul, all of it. There's not one single cause of displacement or housing costs. Supply is a definite factor. My position on this missing middle project is that, first of all, in my district, 40% of all the units are in multifamily units. 60% of my housing units is single family, 40% is in multifamily units. But being in suburban context zoning in our zoning code, they are in separate places. So we have a ton of multifamily, but it's over here and it's over there and it's not in the middle. So Harvey Park was not intended to look like Capitol Hill. And all the apartments along South Wadsworth, the mega complexes of 300 units and more, they are not meant to accommodate single family.
What is it meant, intended? What do you mean by that, though? By who?
In our zoning code. Denver's strength is the diversity of its neighborhoods. If we don't intentionally maintain the different neighborhood types, we have suburban context, urban edge, general urban, commercial corridor. If we don't maintain different availabilities of housing types, we're going to fail to attract all families and welcome all families. The racial and ethnic diversity in my district has increased over the years by people being gentrified out of other parts of town. I represent a majority-minority district, and my black population has increased pretty tremendously as a percentage, not a whole large number because I think 10% of Denver maybe population is black, but there's an increasing number of black households in my district. Latino households have increased. Harvey Park is majority Latino now. Bear Valley's on its, I think is not, might be plurality Latino by now. And that's what planners say they want. Plus, our household income range is skewing lower than the rest of the city as a whole. We are not as rich as the rest of the city. We have some neighborhoods that are wealthier, but by and large, we have more households as a percentage of the whole that earn $50,000 or less than the city average, and we have fewer households earning $200,000 or more than the citywide average. This is the kind of community Denver says it wants. So my position is we will welcome new townhomes, duplex, triplex, but where there are spaces for them. Don't entitle any single family lot in the city to be scraped and put up a fourplex on it, because that simply isn't going to work in every context. In my district, I have one alley. There's one alley in my whole district. So access is an issue. It's not like Capitol Hill or Congress Park or neighborhoods that are urban. And like I said at the beginning, Paul, it's very important to me that Denver maintain a broad diversity of types. We will absorb all the growth that we're intended to absorb in Blueprint Denver, which is 20%. Which is
the long-term planning document.
Yes,
Go on.
Yes. I'm sorry. That's fine. 20% of population growth is intended for areas like mine around the city. At Loretto Heights alone, we're going to add 1,400 housing units. 1,400. That already is almost all of the 20% of the 50,000 units that we need divided by 11 council districts. So I'm looking at places like on South Wadsworth where we have empty parking lots at shopping centers. Jefferson County has already been developing townhomes and apartments on some of the empty parking lots at Bowles Crossing, down at Bowles and Wadsworth. And we have a lot of opportunities there. The old Target store on Sheridan Boulevard at Evans, perfect opportunity. The developer has bought that and he's just waiting for an opportunity to rezone and redevelop that. That's going to be multifamily.
Are you dealing with a lot of waiting when it comes to developers? That's what I think about when your district. I think about empty strip malls. I think about empty parking lots. What's stopping these landowners from making moves?
Financing, the city. You have developers who are saying they won't work in Denver anymore.
Yeah.
Because of how difficult it is to get. Let me give you one example.
Please.
In the Bear Valley Shopping Center, where my council office is, Sheridan and Dartmouth, there was an IHOP restaurant that closed down, sat vacant for a while, and it sold about 2-3 years ago to a national car wash chain. I wish they weren't building a car wash in my shopping center. We don't need another car wash. But they have the zoning entitlement to do it, and that's great. They've been working on it for 3 years, trying to get through the city processes to get a permit. It took them a while to get a permit to demo the building. Now they're trying to get a permit to build the car wash.
So here's the thing about this. I've talked to a few of your colleagues, and like everyone has this same complaint. The city is too slow. The city is, obstructionist. It's not easy to work with. Business owners are complaining. I hear it from people. People in your position hear it from their constituents. What are you doing about it?
I was part of the team. They called it a Tiger team when Johnston first came in as mayor.
I remember this.
We looked at
Tiger teams.
We looked at planning processes with the planning department, permitting processes rather, with the planning department and with Department of Transportation Infrastructure, the old Public Works Department, and the fire department. What's slowing things down? So we had them all at the table, and I had a couple examples of just how goofy the requirements are that we make just homeowners go through. I'll give you two quick examples. I had an elderly couple in Marlee, had a house fire in January a couple years ago, ran out in the middle of the night, 10:30 at night, with just the clothes on their back, and it burnt down their carport right on Jewel Avenue. The carport burned down, and the rec room, the family room next to it, was damaged, smoke damage. So they could live in the rest of the house. But in the meantime, they had to demo the carport, and they had to rebuild it and re-roof the house and restore the family room and all that. 9 months go by. They cannot get a demolition permit. It took 9 months to get a demolition permit to demo the old carport. In the meantime, it looked like an abandoned house. The only way they got the permit to demo the carport was I gave the mayor a guided tour by car during one of his outreach meetings that he held in his first couple months in office in Harvey Park. The last drive we made, I said, go down Jewel, I'm going to show you this. And look at that, 9 months like that. So they got the permit within a week. Some of the stupid things the city wanted. They wanted the couple to hire a property surveyor to survey the entire property. They're going to rebuild the carport right where it was. Why do they have to do that? They wanted a sewer use discharge permit. You need to do an analysis to make sure the city has to approve the fact that when you build this thing you're going to build, you're not going to damage the sanitary sewer. We already know that because we know where the sanitary sewer is. They're not digging in the backyard. Sanitary sewer goes out the backyard and out to Jewel. Why did we need that? We don't need that. I had a fellow in my neighborhood wanted to replace an existing backyard deck. It took 9 months to get the permit to do that.
This episode is brought to you by Denver Film, because movie lovers across the city are getting hyped. It's almost time for Denver's biggest celebration of cinema, and you don't want to miss it. I'm talking red carpets, celebs, Hollywood moguls, exclusive parties and VIP events, and you can be a part of it. Honestly, I've always had a great time at Denver Film Fest. Not only do they bring out so many good movies that you can just show up to basically a random theater on a Tuesday night on a whim and see something interesting, but you also have a chance to dress up nice, go out to a packed screening of one of the year's best, because they always bring the best. The Film Fest returns for its 48th year, running from October 31st to November 9th. They're featuring over 200 of the world's best new films, as well as all kinds of other great events. Choose your adventure and get tickets at denverfilm.org. That's denverfilm.org.
Hey, it's Bree again. And if you didn't know, I think you all know, I love living here. I've lived here my whole life, and it is a really special place to me. But that's what makes this job super cool. I get to talk about this city every day. But it isn't like a one-way exchange. This isn't just CityCast Denver talking to you. You all, our listeners, talk to us. And I'm just thinking about in the last couple of weeks, we had a great show about coffee shops. What are our favorite coffee shops? Where do we go for specific things? And you guys wrote in, you called in, and you told us what you loved. And we were able to share that information with our listeners and readers as well. So I just kind of want to hammer home this as we ask you one last time to join our membership program, that this is an equal exchange. We love hearing from you as much as we know that you love to hear from us. So if you want to keep this conversation going, join us. $10 a month, $100 a year. You get a free cool tote bag, but you also get to be part of this conversation that we invite you to be a part of, and we're so appreciative that you are. If you just go to membership.citycast.fm, sign up today. You get a cool tote bag. You get to be a part of this community. It says that you are a neighbor. You are part of our neighborhood right here in Denver. So yeah, come join us. Also, still tell us what your favorite coffee shops are. We're still having this conversation. Again, membership.citycast.fm. And now, back to our conversation between Paul and Councilman Kevin Flynn.
So the permits seem to be an issue, and I know the mayor announced a new permitting office. He says he's streamlining the process earlier this year. You feel good about it?
It's getting better and better and better.
Okay, that's good.
But that's held up a lot of housing projects as well.
For sure. So that's one of the things that people have been complaining about to the mayor. The other thing lately, especially, is this budget proposal and the layoffs a couple of months ago. A lot of people complaining. People say, you didn't plan properly. You didn't plan the budget right. And now you had to lay off a bunch of people. Or, Clerk and Recorder Paul Lopez on our show last week said that his cuts to the elections office represented a threat to democracy, bigger than what Donald Trump is. You are in these negotiations over the budget right now. How do you feel about the mayor?
We are pretty much handcuffed by the economic reality that we live and die by sales taxes. I don't know how we could have planned better for the decline in sales taxes that we're seeing nationwide, but Denver is not the only city in this position. Houston, Chicago, San Francisco, Aurora, Colorado Springs, we are all feeling the effects of this economy. And that's the primary culprit. A lot of folks try to blame the mayor's homelessness and migrant response.
Which is certainly very expensive.
It was, but
$57 million a year for the homelessness. I think it was like 87 or 90 for immigrants.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but that was about half of what we thought we were going to spend, and a lot of it went back into the budget. So there are myriad causes for the budget crisis. What we've done over the last few years is we've relied on our savings account, and we've not been replenishing it. This happened in 2008, 2009. Hickenlooper had layoffs when he was mayor and furloughs. It happened again during the COVID recession when we had employee furloughs. So we're going to get out of it, but it's going to take 2-3 years to get out of it.
So it's interesting you brought up Hickenlooper, because I have to give credit to our colleagues at Denverite who done the reading on this, did the research, and found that Hickenlooper, at the same time facing a similar situation, he chose to negotiate with the police department and the fire department so they wouldn't get raises at the same time that the city was doing layoffs. Now, Johnston has done the opposite. He's given both those departments raises this year while he's laid off other workers. Would you have done the same?
Well, what Hancock did also in 2020 was very similar. The police union, and I think the firefighters, and I'm not sure about the sheriffs, deferred their raises. And that's what helped us out. It's not that we didn't give them raises. It's they were entitled raises under the collective bargaining agreement, and they agreed to defer them and work with us to manage that budget. And that's something that could still be in the picture. Is
it? Tell me about that. Are you in these talks? Or
No.
do you know the mayor's having these conversations?
No.
Okay. I'm talking to the fire chief next week. Should I ask him? Do you want to defer your raises?
Sure.
What do you think he's going to say?
I have no idea.
I think he's going to say hell no.
Well, it's not his raise, it's his unionized staff.
Yeah, I guess so.
You could ask the firefighters 858.
What's that? Is that their,
that's
their union?
Yes.
I will.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
So this actually reminds me of another thing I heard about your district. I wonder if you think it's still true, but someone told me that your district has a reputation, and there's a term that I'm not sure I would normally use, but I have to because it's the only way to say it, is the blue ghetto.
Yes.
Do you know this term?
Yes.
That this is a place where a lot of police officers live?
Yes.
Is this still the case?
I think a lot of them do, but since 98, 99, when the city voters repealed the residency rule that you had to live in the city if you worked for the city, a number of city employees, not just firefighters and police, but regular city employees have moved farther out because housing is less expensive, frankly. There's a reason for that. I'll delve into a little bit of the history if you don't mind.
Yeah.
In the 60s and 70s, Denver was very aggressively annexing. We had annexed all the way almost to Red Rocks. My district, for the 1971 election, I remember seeing the map for the results. but the precincts went all the way out to Bear Creek where it comes through the Hogback.
Okay.
Because that was all in Denver at one time. And because we did that, Jefferson County sued. And there was like 10 years of litigation over these annexations. At one time, we had all of Grant Ranch, we had Southwest Plaza Mall, we had west of Kipling, west of Sims, all the way to Alkire, all the way to the Hogback. Jefferson County sued because Denver cut them off from the north side of the county and the south side of the county. In the meantime, the woman who was later mayor of, or at the time maybe mayor of Greenwood Village, Frida Poundstone, successfully got an amendment on the ballot called the Poundstone Amendment.
Oh, yes, I've heard of this.
1974, Poundstone Amendment basically ended all of Denver's annexations. And because of that, when the judge lopped off all that west of Kipling area and a lot of Southwest Plaza, areas we already zoned commercial, like for Jordan Perlmutter to build the mall, all the sales taxes ended up going to Jeffco instead of to Denver. Because of that, we were landlocked. And in reaction, Denver voters passed a residency rule that said if you work for the city and county of Denver, you have to live in the city and county of Denver. Over the time that we had annexed all these areas like Governor's Ranch and West Ridge and the neighborhoods west of Kipling, a lot of city workers, cops and firefighters and clerks and planners and trash haulers all bought homes in Governor's Ranch and places like that because that's where they could afford them. They couldn't afford to live in the center of the city. Suddenly, after the judge made his ruling in the annexation cases, suddenly they're living in Jefferson County again. And this caused a great stink. But that's why it ended up being called the Blue Ghetto.
Interesting.
Because a lot of city workers live there, not blue collar, not just the officers in blue, but blue collar workers as well.
Well, last question I wanted to ask you about was probably the most interesting issue on our ballots here in Denver in November, which is the flavored tobacco ban. Now, this ban went into effect after City Council voted nearly unanimously last December, and then the mayor approved it. And the one lone no vote was you.
Was that me?
I believe it was you.
It was. I'll have to check the record.
You said, no, don't ban flavored tobacco.
Yes. And the reporting has been not getting it precisely correct. One of the reasons was, of course, I represent a district that's on the border. I got 7 other jurisdictions that border my council district. And it's easy enough for a kid to go out to Lakewood or Littleton or Arapahoe County, Sheridan, Englewood, you name it. But the fact is, most kids aren't getting it that way. A lot of them are getting it online, if they're getting it. But the fact is, and here's why I voted no, this is a total ban on selling the product at all in Denver, either menthol cigarettes or flavored vapes or tobaccos of any kind. And the data had shown that over the last several years, youth usage across the board, including among flavored tobaccos and vapes, has been declining. The data we were shown from Colorado showed a decline, steady decline continuing. So we step in at the last moment and we're trying to swat a fly with a cannonball. And what I said, and the most pertinent reason that I voted no was, I wasn't elected to tell grown-ass adults that they can't buy a pack of Newport if that's what they want. Don't sell it to kids, and we're having success with that, but don't say you can't sell the product at all to a willing buyer. And that's why I voted no.
Well, a lot of your colleagues saw it differently. A lot of them are talking about, kids getting access to this stuff,
right.
don't want them to have it, want the help of the government in this way. Do you think there's any chance that the city sees it your way and votes to repeal this thing?
I stopped guessing how voters would vote when I was wrong on a few other ballot issues, like the sidewalk fee.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, my God, what a mess that became. But I don't know. I'm anxious to see. I've endorsed the vote no on it, and I will see how it goes. I was very surprised last year when the sales tax increase failed for housing, the half-cent sales tax increase. I think that's the first time the city turned down a general sales tax, a special sales tax increase. We did turn down one on marijuana a couple of years earlier.
Yeah, but at least in quite a while, though, yeah.
Yeah. And then we also voted down a bond issue a couple of years ago, one of the bond issues that would have built a new arena to replace the Coliseum up at the National Western Center. So I don't know if the mood is changing among Denver's electorate, but I think people are people are upset and they're angry right now for a lot of reasons, and a lot of them don't have anything to do with Denver, frankly. They have to do with the poisonous political atmosphere in the country right now. So I don't know what they'll do in November. I'm focused on the one that I sponsored with 4 other members, which changes the at-large election process for the 2 at-large members.
This is the one that separates the races into city council at-large seat A and at-large seat B. So when you're running for one of these races, you have to choose, do you run in the A race or the B race? I don't understand this one at all. I feel like the system works fine. What's the problem with it?
Well, it doesn't. The original intent when the at-large seats were established in 1971 was that they be elected by a majority. A court decision invalidated the partisan election process that the voters wanted to use to elect them. It said, no, Denver, you have to have nonpartisan elections. So we were left with a plurality first past the post election. So electing 2 people on a single ballot means that a number of people waste their votes. They vote only for one because they don't want to undercut their favorite candidate.
Yeah.
The undervoting in the at-large race is 1/3. 1/3 of all at-large potential votes go uncast.
And you think this is not them expressing their will as voters, that they want the one person more than anyone else?
But they're supposed to elect 2, and they're not doing it.
But that's their choice.
But we shouldn't present people with an undemocratic choice. Either vote for 2 and possibly undercut your favorite, or waste your second vote. So this is a perfect solution. But the primary reason is it guarantees election by a majority. It was the original intent that all city council members, the mayor and the auditor, be elected by a majority of the vote. And because of this Supreme Court decision, state Supreme Court in 71, that stripped away partisan elections for Denver, took us back to the nonpartisan system, we're left with a situation where the average at-large winner has won with about 32% of the vote. It's ranged between 38, 39%, as low as 16.5%. And here's one of the benefits, I believe, flow from this, Paul, and that is I think it might encourage more people to seek office, because now you will have 3 choices for an office to run for if you want to be on city council. I'm term limited. Whoever's thinking in Southwest Denver they want to be on city council right now has 2 choices. They can run at large in a big field and hope to come in second. Kathy Reynolds, former councilwoman, late Kathy Reynolds, used to encourage me, says you should run at large. You only have to come in second. That's a hell of a campaign slogan, right? But now, with this amendment, you have 3 choices. You can run for my seat, district seat. You can run for at-large A or at-large B. And I think that's an elegant solution to a problem.
Don't you think it'll cause like weird strategy moves, like people choosing run in race A, and then the race A is already full of like a bunch of progressives, so I may be a little bit more middle of the road. Maybe I'll run in race A, so then I'll be a little bit more different, and then race B will develop in a different way. Like, doesn't that seem weird? Like, why are we creating a whole new politics in different races like that?
I don't care. All politics is like that. Why is that any different in any other race? Am I going to run against Councilman Flynn, or am I going to run at large? You know, when I ran the last time, I had 2 opponents. They could have run at large also. You know, it's no different. To try to pretend that it's any different than what already goes on in every other race is just not. It's just not genuine.
So why change it? Well, you already told us why change. You already said why change.
Change it because people who represent a citywide constituency should be elected by a citywide majority. Right now, if you have a crowded field, let's say there's 10 people running at large, and 9 of them are very left or ultra progressive, and there's one well-funded MAGA candidate in there. You only have to come in second. Remember?
Yeah.
That's not a good way to elect people.
But they wouldn't.
How do you know?
Because I know Denver. I know Denverites.
Andy Rougeau, the Republican, came in 4th in the mayor's race.
A distant 4th. He was not going to win.
But if you could have voted for 2, how would he have done? What I'm saying, Paul, is
he would have lost
in a crowded race at large, with a lot of candidates who are very similar. It's very easy for someone who is dissimilar, who has a message and money, to come in second, or maybe even come in first. We have had at-large candidates who were pretty conservative. I'm thinking of the one from Bear Valley, Bob Kreider. who served 4 terms. It's separating the seats makes perfect sense by electing everybody by a majority, just like we are, just like the mayor, just like the auditor and the clerk.
Well, I'm looking forward to having more conversations about that one because I cannot wrap my head around it totally still. But I appreciate your perspective. Councilman Flynn, thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome. Take care.
Hey, it's Bree again. One last time, just inviting you to join our Neighbors program. Membership.citycast.fm. Just $10 a month supports this show doing what we do, doing what you're listening to right now. A conversation with maybe Councilman Flynn's your council member. We talk to everyone in this city and we invite you to be part of that conversation. Join us. Again, also with this membership drive, this is the last time you can get entered to win a $250 gift card to any Bonanno Concepts restaurant. So that's Osterio Marco, my favorite, Vesper Lounge. Join today. You get entered to win that. And you get to support us, CityCast Denver. Membership.citycast.fm. Join now. Thank you.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. If you enjoyed the show, why not take a minute to tell the Firefighters Union to email me back? Rate the show wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe to our morning newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. And thank you so much to our new neighbors who have joined during the fall membership drive. Chris H., Micah K., Catherine D., Mariah S., Laurel T., Kendrick M., Andy J., Andy L., Elisa R., Nancy P., Brian J., Emily M.,
Roseanne P., Ann M., Egan N., Tommy D., Stephanie L., Brian T., Emma R., Dwight C., Jamie S., Matthew C., Carrick S., Martin L., Sue G., and Desi K., who also just joined our membership program. You can support the show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Denver neighbor today at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. See you later. You want to say bye, Paul?
Bye.
Paul's like, no.
Bye, everyone.
Done.
Take care. Ta-ta.